I light a candle to our love.
Hello everyone and welcome to this video. Now today I'm going to be doing a vinyl update video just showing some of the records which I've purchased over the last couple of months. So I think my last one of these was back in April, so yeah, nearly 3 months worth of stuff here. From a variety of different places, a few things from local record fairs, a few online purchases, some stuff from a trip me and my girlfriend had to Copenhagen. So that's some really interesting stuff here like that I'll be showing today. So yeah, we'll just get right stuck in with a couple of birthday items. So it was my birthday at the end of April, so I actually got a few things here, which again I've still not had a chance to show on my channel yet. So I got this from my girlfriend, which is Prefab Sprout album. I did ask for this. It's Let's Change the World with Music. So it's a reissue this of one of their later albums. I think the original album came out it says 2009 like on the back here, but I think the actual music on this does date from the kind of like the early 90s. I think it was originally intended as a kind of follow-up to the Jordan, the comeback album, but never really happened. And yeah, Paddy McAloon just kind of resurrected like this material for this album. I mean, it's certainly not the finest Prefab Sprout album going, but it is a nice one to get though for the collection. So yeah, that's Prefab Sprout, Let's Change the World with Music. And then from my parents, they got me this, which again, another one that I asked for, which is the Pipes of Peace Paul McCartney Archive edition. So this came out a good couple of years ago, but it's one that I just never bothered to pick up like at the time, but I always had my eye on it a little bit, and thankfully it's not one that has gone up massively like in value, so we were still able to get this at a relatively sensible price. But I mean, if you're familiar like with the archive sets, you know, there's nothing new or particularly special like in here. You just get a nice kind of fold out insert here, which just says I think there's 2 CDs and a DVD with this one here. You then get a book, which is very, as usual, these are very detailed, you know, lots of pictures in here, from like the sessions and like from like the time, and a lot of words and that as well. So yeah, really interesting to kind of like delve in a few of the cover photo shoots from the album here. It's not one of my favourite McCartney albums, this. I do think it is a bit patchy, but I think it is great that it's kind of celebrated like in like a big box set like this. So that is one book, and then the other book I think is all focused around the Pipes of Peace music video, the really iconic music video that went along like with the tracks, just a lot of Linda's photographs like from the set and the filming like of like that video. So really grateful to get both of those items there for my birthday last month. Okay, so moving on to a new release, a new album from earlier this year. I must say, this year's not been too great for new releases from my perspective anyway. I mean, I've not bought a whole lot, and the ones I have bought, I've not been too crazy about. But this is, at the minute, my album of the year. It's by a band called the Lemon Twigs, and it's an album called A Dream Is All We Know. This is sort of like their 4th or 5th album. They've got a few years, kind of like a US kind of duo, 2 brothers, and the music is very much a kind of 60s throwback kind of vibe. This album particularly very Beach Boys-esque, so if you're into that kind of 60s pop, then this will be right up your street. This is the lovely Asai Records exclusive, numbered exclusive, also signed by the 2 brothers as well, which is really, really, really cool. A lot of great tracks on here, things like My Golden Years, They Don't Know How to Fall in Place is probably my favourite, and yeah, I mean, like, there's just, like, a lot of, like, great stuff, like, on this album. So yeah, album of the year for me so far, anyway. And then another new release here, but not of new music. It's a Paul McCartney item, One Hand Clapping. So this came out, I think, in June, and this is great. This is a kind of live album that Wings kind of recorded, kind of like sometime like in 1974. I think they were kind of like rehearsing, not quite to go out on tour, I don't think, but kind of like to sort of bed in the kind of like this reforms like kind of like lineup like of Wings. So kind of consisted of Jimmy McCulloch like on guitar and Jeff Britton like on drums. So who were kind of like two new recruits like to Wings. So this was a kind of album of them kind of rehearsing up and kind of like sort of like getting to kind of gel like as a band. And I must say, some of the performances on here are absolutely like on fire, particularly more of like the rocking ones, things like Jet and Hi 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 and Junior's Fall. I think are actually better versions than the Wings Over America versions, personally. Like, I think these ones just have a lot more punch to them. And Jeff Britton is a very underrated drummer, I think, like in like the Wings catalogue. Like, he wasn't around for very long. It was literally just this and the Junior's Farm single, and that was that. You know, he like barely played on anything. But I think he's a really solid rock drummer, more so than, say, Joe English, who's maybe more technical, but is quite, maybe doesn't quite have the same punch like with like some of like these like the more like rockier moments like on here. So no, it is a great live record. There's some interesting cuts like on here. Like it's some of the first times that McCartney's exploring doing Beatles songs again. So there's kind of early workings out of kind of like things like Let It Be and Long and Winding Road. So like these were songs that he would soon like introduce like into Wings' live set. But this was him just kind of like sort of like revisiting like those songs again. They've got things like Sally G, version of Tomorrow from the Wildlife album, like Wildlife itself as well on here. So yeah, no, a lot of great tracks, and yeah, just fantastic to get it finally released, and as a kind of like a really good worthy standalone release like as well. Okay, next up now is an album which I picked up by Bell and Sebastian. So I've been kind of slowly trying to get all of the Bell and Sebastian albums going. I've been really getting into them like over like the past like few months, and this is a kind of compilation of theirs called The Third Eye Centre. And what this is kind of B-sides kind of stuff and kind of remixes. So some of the tracks on here which are kind of like, yeah, like I said, remixes, but then a lot of the other ones are kind of, yeah, like B-sides, like things that you can't get anywhere else. This is the second of such albums that they released. This kind of covers their kind of middle period. This was released in 2013 originally, and it kind of follows up a kind of a similar compilation they did like in 2003. So yeah, it is a nice one to get. I think it's slowly getting out of print, this album, so it's what I decided to jump on while I still had the chance. A double black vinyl there for that one. And then this was a online purchase here which I've got on this band's Bandcamp. So it's by a band called Sandra's Wedding, who I've shown a few times like on my channel. They're kind of Yorkshire-based band, very House Martinsy, Paul Heaton kind of like influence to them. This is a I think an album. It's called Pleasure Grounds, but it's only got like 8 tracks. So kind of like a mini album sort of thing. And yeah, this is just I think this was originally done in 2020 possibly, but this is just a kind of more recent reissue of it on I must say, a lovely, gorgeous kind of blue sort of splatter vinyl, which is yeah, really nice. Again, solid stuff for the band. I mean, nothing like, I mean, they've got a sound and they stick to it and they do it really well. So yeah, I think it's like worth trying out. You've also got a little looks like a little souvenir program here with it, which is quite nice. I've seen just lyrics and such like in here. So no, yeah, really like good. And I think that's got probably everything they've put out like on vinyl. I think they've only got like I think 3 or 4 albums, and then plus maybe a couple of these kind of singles, EPs kind of thing. Okay, next couple of items now are all from a trip to Brighton that me and my girlfriend had back in, again, the start of May here, so we're going back a fair bit here. So yeah, I'll just show like what I picked up. Got this one here, which is an XTC single, but quite a special one though. It's for This World Over, and as you can see there, this comes with all of the postcards intact. So if you know the song, the whole idea is it's about the kind of sort of like nuclear, like apocalypse sort of thing. So you see here, it's got like, yeah, greetings from London, and then just absolutely nothing. It's one of the lines like in the song like when they get to a sea of rubble and they ask what was London like, and then you've got different ones like that one, Berlin, Tokyo, and Paris there, yeah. So yeah, I mean, Ecstasy always went way out with their single packaging, and yeah, I was just really happy to see this one here for yeah, an absolutely fantastic song. Next one I picked up here was another single by Orange Juice, Scottish indie kind of pop band, for a song called Felicity. This one is, I think it's an original on the postcard Records label. The sound of young Scotland was their kind of tagline there. So nice to get this one here. Lead vocals by James Kirk, who was the kind of second kind of guitarist like in the band, sort of after like Edwyn Collins. So nice to get this one, and yeah, real showcase for him. One of Orange Juice's best songs. And then while we're on the subject of Edwyn Collins, I just thought I'd show this one here as well, which is an album called I'm Not Following You, which I had no idea even existed, to be honest with you. This is a kind of late 90s album, and it wasn't actually that expensive. I think this was maybe £15, I think, so I get it really well on this, considering this is kind of late 90s, this album, 97 this one came out. It's a pretty solid album, again, nothing that you wouldn't expect from Edwyn Collins on here. It's just on a kind of a black vinyl, standard black vinyl there. No hits on here, it kind of, I think this was the album after Gorgeous George, because he'd had the big hit A Girl Like You, and then I think maybe did this album quite quickly to kind of try and capitalise on it, but it didn't. Certainly this one wasn't a big seller of an album, but a pretty good one though to get. So yeah, Edwyn Collins there, another great album. And then another band, probably along with Belle and Sebastian, who I've been really getting into over the last couple of months, is Kitchens of Distinction. They're kind of, I think they're from London, but they're kind of shoegazy kind of band, but they've kind of got good songs, so they're kind of very bit Smithsy, but also got a big kind of sound to them, as well. It's sort of a lot less jangly. They're kind of they kind of use the pedal board a lot more, and they're just absolutely great. And been trying to get their kind of albums and singles when I see them. The only trouble is you don't, except for this time when I seen this, which is for a song called Quick as Rainbows. I think from their second album called Strange Free World. And yeah, I mean, this is just another great song. You've also got a nice reinsert here as well, which actually it's a bit odd. It actually says it's all Kitchens lyrics ever, and then you get the lyrics to all songs from their previous album. So a little bit odd, why were those lyrics included with the album? But great song, and yeah, an absolutely fantastic band. My last album review was for their album, The Death of Cool, which is probably gone down as one of my all-time favourite albums now. So yeah, definitely check out Kitchens of Distinction if you are not aware of them. And then last one from the Brighton trip here is Blue Nile single here for Tinseltown in the Rain. So this one is still got the shrink wrap on it. I've got my own cover, but it has still got the shrink wrap on it there, which is really nice. One of the all-time great kind of Scottish 80s songs. You've got two B-sides, a song called Regret, which isn't on any of the albums, which is really good to get, and an instrumental version of Heatwave, which is on the same Walk Across the Rooftops album. So no, fantastic song here by the Blue Nile. Okay, got a couple of items now from a record fair which was on just around the corner from where I live. It's on maybe every couple of months. It's not normally too brilliant, but I do tend to go along and sometimes get a few bits and pieces. So yeah, this time I got a few things here. So I got this Trash Can Sinatra's 12-inch. Trash Can Sinatra's kind of Ayrshire based Scottish kind of indie jangle band. This is the title track from their second album, I've Seen Everything, which I again didn't even know was a single until I seen this and was like, ooh, that looks really interesting, I think I'll have that. And yeah, just a 12-inch single, kind of standard sort of 4-track kind of thing there. So no, nice to get that one. And then they also had a lot of Deacon Blue singles. Deacon Blue, again, another fantastic Scottish band from the kind of the late 80s. I mean, they had loads, and I kind of had to kind of restrain myself a little bit and kind of just go for the ones that I kind of really wanted, kind of thing. So the one in particular I really wanted was Dignity, which is easily their best song, I would say. It's an absolute classic track. And yeah, just nice to get this one on a single. I'm not sure what version of this it is, because they kind of reissued this song at least 3 times, in the late 80s, early 90s. So I don't know if this is a really early original or if this is maybe one of those kind of cash-in reissues perhaps. But no, great to get this one. And then I also got this one for, I think this was £2 or £3 for the track Queen of the New Year, which was from their second album, When the World Wants to Know Your Name, I think it's called. Like a great song. And again, yeah, nice to get it like on a single. And then also picked up two 7-inch singles at that fair like as well. So I got an ABBA one here for the song Under Attack. So this was the last ABBA single. Got this one mostly because you've got a unique B-side on it, a song called You Owe Me One. I mean, admittedly not one of their best songs, but nice to get it though. And it's got a slightly odd picture sleeve there. Certainly not the finest photo of ABBA ever taken. Just an advertisement for the Greatest Hits album on the back of it there. And then I picked up this one as well, mostly just for the cover, mind you, which is a lovely original pressing of Simon and Garfunkel's Mrs. Robinson, which I just think is a really, really lovely cover. There, so an original one from 60, 68, 69. You've got the flip backs on it, and I mean, there's nothing exclusive on here. It's just Mrs. Robinson, Scarborough Fair, April Comes She Will, and Sounds of Silence. So maybe this was, I think those are all on the Graduate soundtrack, weren't they? So yeah, maybe this was just issued to kind of capitalise like on that, but no, yeah, great song, and nice to get a lovely original single there. Okay, next few up now are all from my recent trip to Copenhagen here. So they've got some fantastic record shops there. Again, I can't remember most of the names for these because this was again way back in the start of June here. But yeah, I did pick up a few bits and pieces. I think these first ones were from a shop called, I think it was Sound Records. It was near the zoo anyway, kind of like the western edge of the city. So I got this one here, which is by a band called the Triffids. I think I showed one of their albums in my last update. Really like it, kind of folky, kind of indie, kind of pop sort of feel to it. This one is called The Black Swan, and this one came out after that. So this is kind of like again one of their later albums. Brilliant stuff like on here though. I'd probably say like I prefer this. I think it's just a bit more sophisticated, and you can kind of tell they're kind of like up in the game a little bit, like with this album here, 1980. I don't have a date on the back of it. 89 this one came out, yeah, so kind of, yeah, quite late for them, but no, brilliant stuff, very underrated band there. And that was part of a kind of like a 3-for-2 kind of deal, I think, so I kind of had to sort of look around, try and get a few other albums to kind of like go along with it to kind of get the advantage of the deal. So I got this Pretenders one here, which is one, it's a dirt common album, but one I didn't have. Get Close here. Yeah, one of their biggest albums, a big hit album here for the Pretenders. You've got the likes of like Don't Get Me Wrong, like is like the big single on here. Fantastic song. Not played this yet, but yeah, just a nice one to get for the collection. Interesting wee fact for this: you've actually got two members of Paul McCartney's future touring band on here, like Robbie McIntosh and Blair Cunningham are both on this album. So yeah, kind of, yeah, that's quite interesting there. So yeah, the Pretenders. And then I got my first album by this band here, which is Split Ends here. So these are kind of a bit of a precursor to kind of Crowded House, but they had their kind of own sort of career, like a massive career kind of like before like Crowded House. And I think this was, I think, the first album where it was both Tim Finn and Neil Finn. So Neil Finn would be the one who would go on and be probably more well known for kind of Crowded House, but this is, yeah, from 1977, produced by Jeff Emerick, so the kind of famous kind of Beatles engineer, and this is great. I really like this album, so yeah, I'll be kind of keen to maybe get a few more of their albums here. Yeah, I just thought this was really good. Again, I wasn't sure about the cover like at first, but it's kind of arty, a bit off the wall, and yeah, no, I really liked it. So yeah, Split Ends there. From year 1977. And then from a different record shop, which is one that I really wish I had a lot more time to spend in, because it was absolutely massive, this shop, but I think we had to go somewhere, or we were kind of like under, kind of like sort of like short for time basically, so I couldn't properly like look around this shop, but I did like see this, which I was quite happy to pick up. So it's an album by Steve Kilbey. So he's more well known for being the lead singer of The Church, a great Australian kind of psychedelic rock band kind of thing from like the 80s. And he's got his own kind of very prolific solo career to go along with that. And this is, I think, something like his second or third solo album from 1987. So very much when the Church was still kind of pumping out albums. I think this was a year before the Starfish album came out, and I really, really, really enjoyed this record. Yeah, I just thought this was a very solid album, like all of the way through. It's a lovely copy, this as well. You've got the inner sleeve there, and the record is in its own sleeve. And yeah, I just really wish I had a lot more time to spend like in this shop. Because who knows what other treasures I could have found. Okay, sticking with a few items from the Copenhagen trip. Now, one day we actually got the train over to Sweden. We went to a place called Lund, kind of small city, but quite nice, just like a wee day out. And they had a couple of record shops there, which I also visited. So when you're in Sweden, you can't really go much wrong than purchasing an ABBA album here. And this is quite a special one, actually. So this is the Greatest Hits album that a lot of people will know more from this cover. So it's just the same album as this, but this was how it was originally released in, I think, only in Sweden. I think everywhere else it came with this kind of like the park bench cover, but this was the Swedish cover. So this was very cheap, but it's something that you would probably never see like in like the UK. So just for that, I thought that I would pick it up. And I mean, I've already got, I think I've got my mum's old copy, like off like her UK version, but it's nice just to get this one, like more just for the curiosity and factor of it. And now another first album, for me anyway, from this band, which is Sparks. So I thought that I would pick up this one here, which is the album, it's called Propaganda, this one. So yeah, my first Sparks album, I mean, I know that they're very highly regarded, like in like the vinyl community. A lot of people, I think, like James Griffiths and that are sort of big keen Sparks fans, like yeah, but I've just never really given them much time. So I thought when I seen this again, relatively cheap, thought that I would give it a go. And I mean, I must say, it wasn't absolutely my cup of tea. I think it maybe does need a bit of time to grow on me, but I do love this record. Like I do love the cover like of this. So I think it's really creative cover art on it. Yeah, I mean, it's a bit arty, this album, quite a little bit out there. Remind me a bit of 10cc like in places, but a little bit more. I mean, so like the vocals are quite like idiosyncratic, and there's just a lot going on like on this album, a lot to kind of take in like and process like as a first listen. But yeah, quite glad to sort of start off what might well become a full Sparks collection like in a few years. Another one now, which is by a band which I don't actually have any albums of until now. They're a band called the Del Fuegos, and I think they're like an American band. These kind of a bit R.E.M.y, bit Tom Petty as well. I mean, I think they toured with Tom Petty like back in the day, kind of mid-80s, kind of like sort of like affair. This is an album called Boston Mass. And yeah, I think this was a very solid, very strong album here. I've only played it once, so can't quite comment too much on it, but no, I thought this was really good on the Warner Brothers record label there. So no, yeah, nice to get this one as well. Another new artist for me is Dex's Midnight Runners. Kind of, yeah, very popular, like in like the early 80s, like in like the UK. I mean, they had so many great like hit singles kind of like back in the day. This is their debut album, Searching for the Young Soul Rebels, and I really actually was surprised at how much like I like enjoyed this one, to be fair. This is just a cheap reissue. It's on the Fame label, which I didn't notice like at the time. I thought that it was a nice original, but maybe like in hindsight I should have waited. But I think this is a great album. Songs like Tell Me When My Light Turns Green, Gino, 7 Days Too Long is like another favourite. So yeah, a really great album here. Very horn driven and quite unique sound. You know, it's quite lush musically, but Kevin Rowland's vocals are kind of a bit messy, a bit kind of punky sort of attitude to them, but kind of has this kind of northern soul kind of feel to it. It's quite a weird kind of fusion, but I think works really well. So yeah, Dex's Midnight Runners there. And they're still in Lund here for these ones. So again, still like the same record shop, picked up a few singles. So got an ABBA one here, the Winner Takes It All. Great song. I mean, you can't really say much more than that. Nice wee picture sleeve to it there. This House Martins one, I think was this was I think the equivalent of about 10p. It actually like came to like kind of like by the time you did the currency conversion. So I got a copy of Me and the Farmer by the House Martins there, with a song I Bit My Lip on the B-side, really underrated track there. And then this one, an ELO one here, The Way Life's Meant to Be, from the album Time here. Kind of, yeah, a bit of a throwback to the kind of like the Out of the Blue cover there, but no, it's from the Time album this, and again a great, really underrated single. Okay, and now last couple to finish off this video today, again all still from Copenhagen. So I've been looking for a few months for Todd Rundgren albums, particularly the one called Sometime Anywhere or Sometime Anything, like, you know, like the one with like I Saw the Light and like Couldn't I Just Tell You on it. That's the one that I've been really looking for. But I did see this one, so I thought I would give this one a try, which is just a self-titled album, Todd here. Came out at 74, this one here. And this is good. It's quite out there. It reminded me a bit of the Sparks one. It was quite a lot to get your head around, like with like this album here. I mean, he's certainly a hugely creative and sort of wacky artist and that, and he just covers so much ground here. He's kind of, one minute he's prog, and then he's jazzy, and then he's doing stuff like writing like McCartney-esque kind of pop songs, you know. He's like all over the shop. He's very, very, very difficult like to pin down. But this is a lovely original copy of it here. Got a bit of marking like on the bottom there, a bit of ringworm and kind of, I think, a bit of water damage there, which I didn't notice at first, which I was a bit annoyed about. But it does come with a lovely poster this, so it's a double record set, and then you get a really massive poster actually, just with a picture of Todd on one side there, and all of the lyrics to the songs as well. So yeah, no, really, really nice to get this one. Okay, and then next one from that same shop was this Wings single for Good Night Tonight in this lovely picture sleeve, which it never came out like in a picture sleeve like in the UK, certainly like on like a 7-inch format. So nice just to get this one here, Wings there, one of their later singles. And last two now, again, both from Copenhagen still. Forget the shop that this was from. I should have looked up where all these shops were, but this was again another really, really fantastic shop. Kind of think of the kind of like the north of the city. Kind of had to go like over one of like the rivers, and then there was a kind of lot of vintage shops. There's like a main road, a lot of vintage shops, but some record shops as well. And this one was particularly good. But again, only came out with two things here. Again, I think I was trying to moderate myself a little bit. So I got this album by a band called Diesel Park West, who Rob Walker kind of introduced me to, and they're great, kind of, yeah, late 80s, early 90s, kind of very solid kind of indie rock kind of sort of thing, a bit jangly, but like just very much my kind of sweet spot. This is an album called Flipped. Now this is, I didn't actually realise at the time, but it does say it here. It says B-sides, covers and outtakes, so it's just as kind of what it says on the tin. So I actually just played this expecting it not to be very good, but I was actually really blown away. I really liked a good couple like of the tracks today. I think it's Friends and Enemies, I think I remember really liking, and Find Somebody. I think that might be a cover actually. Like I felt that I had heard that song before, so that must be a cover. It's on Food Records here, the same label that Blur would end up on, and no, yeah, really nice to see this one here, not something I see every day. And then last one now, just to finish off the video, is this Joe Jackson album, which again is one that I didn't even know existed. So this is an album called Laughter and Lust, came out in 1991, and yeah, it was just one of these things you never see kind of 90s albums like really like kicking about, so it was good to get this one. And I really had no idea what to expect with this album, because Joe Jackson is kind of always like a bit like all over the shop, you know. He's one minute he's doing jazz, then he's doing his kind of more kind of new wave kind of not quite rock, but that kind of sort of like pop kind of sort of songs and that. This one is more like in like kind of like the latter camp, the kind of sort of pop kind of commercial sort of camp, or as commercial as like you can get really for Joe Jackson. And I thought was a pretty good album. It would be the last time that you would do this kind of style of music for quite a a few years. I think it was his last kind of poppy album until like sort of like the early 2000s. So it's a really, really good record. You kind of then go into the kind of classical kind of sphere like of music. But no, great to get this one here. Not one I knew even existed. So yeah, really, really happy with that. Okay, so that's me come to the end of this vinyl update video. So yes, I hope you have enjoyed the video. I guess if there's any other kind of requests for future videos, reviews, or other top 10 lists or like whatnot, please do like let me know in the comments. I'm kind of keeping a list of like any ones I get suggested, and we'll kind of get round to kind of like doing them like at some point. But yeah, I hope you have enjoyed the video, and I will see you all next time. Thanks, goodbye.